Story for Baltimore is still, will the Ravens and quarterback Lamar Jackson agree on a new contract before the former NFL MVP's deadline of Week 1? There is a way for that to happen, explains ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum.
Come up with a deal where both sides can claim victory. Maybe you give him an average per year of $55 million, so he clearly is the highest paid quarterback. The Ravens can claim victory where they don't go to $230 million. So you put something in a deal where both sides feel like it's not ideal, but we both can claim victory.
Mike Tannenbaum on Get Up. NBA Clippers guard John Wall said he considered suicide during family and injury struggles the last 3 years. The 31-year-old said he was in the darkest place he's ever been in following the deaths of his mother and grandmother. Also said he began attending therapy to deal with those losses in the middle of rehabbing a torn Achilles.
The new Venture X card from Capital One. Earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars and 5x miles on flights when you book through Capital One Travel, plus 2x miles on all other purchases. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there. Make it a good one. Game week coverage continues. Excited to welcome Sean Salisbury back to AFR. That'll happen today in hour number 3. The deadline for NFL roster cut downs to 53 has expired. So a lot of that will be part of the show today as we get final word on a lot of the players that the Saints have cut. Some notable already, maybe surprising to some, would be Kirk Merritt, a guy who many thought would have a chance to make this team. Looks like he could be destined for a practice squad designation unless if there's a team that puts in a waiver claim. Linebacker Nafai Sewell is another guy who they liked a lot, was taking starter reps late in camp, didn't make it. Jordan Jackson, the draft pick, did not make the team. Offensive lineman Derek Schweiger also cut. Dejon Dixon, former starter Taco Charlton, maybe a surprise to some. And maybe the biggest name is Ian Book. Ian Book has been released by the New Orleans Saints. He's waived. So if he clears waivers, it's very likely a practice squad designation. We talked about that last week for Ian Book. It was the most likely scenario because nobody's going to sign him to the active roster. So to their active roster. So you'll be able to re-sign him to your practice squad, most likely, provided he clears waivers. None of that, however, is the biggest story of the day. I and many others were completely taken aback today when the New Orleans Saints announced that they traded defensive back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Dennis Allen did meet with the media today and gave an explanation on the decision.
I want to say this. I want to say that was not an easy decision. I love Chauncey. He's been a big part of what we've been able to do here, specifically defensively, a big part of our organization for the last 3 years. And certainly we wish him the best. We wouldn't have done that if we didn't feel extremely confident in the group that we have. We feel like the defensive backfield was one of the deeper positions that we had, and we had a chance to acquire some more assets. And so that's the decision that we made.
The Saints traded Chauncey Gardner-Johnson for pennies on the dollar. They sent C.D. Deuce to the Eagles for a 2023 fifth-round pick and a 2024 sixth-round pick. The Saints will also send a 2025 seventh-round pick along with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I have a lot of thoughts on this. I'm not going to lie, though. Like, this is hard. This might be the saddest I've ever been over a trade. I mean, there's really only two professional sports franchises that I love. It's the Saints and the Yankees. Let me add a third, of course, with the Pelicans. I'm talking about in my entire lifetime. The Pelicans have only been around since 2002. And I've seen players come and go. It was very hard to watch Bobby Hebert play for the Atlanta Falcons and do the airplane on the field of the Superdome. It sucked watching Ricky Jackson win a Super Bowl with San Francisco or Sam Mills playing Carolina. As far as trades go, the Saints traded Pat Swilling to Detroit, so really the Dome Patrol was broken apart as such. Jimmy Graham got traded back in 2015, and that was really surprising. I was a big proponent of Jimmy Graham's. But it worked out. Max Unger was a great starting center and anchor of your line. You got a 2015 number one pick. That became Stephon Anthony, so that didn't actually work out. So we might be able to actually revisit that and think that trade didn't work, but I digress. Y'all, I love Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. The day they drafted him, I told you. He's the guy. I hated him at Florida. Hated him. He's the guy that you hate from the other team, but you are so damn glad when he's on your team. Well, the Saints have options in the secondary, and we'll run through that. But replacing the attitude is something that's going to be hard to do. Y'all realize this is a man who fought Michael Thomas at practice? He got his own teammate to punch him at practice. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a mastermind of the mind games. This man, a few years ago in Chicago, stealthily swiped another man's mouthpiece. It was only discovered by TV cameras after he was punched in the face with a helmet on. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson became the meme king when he savagely taunted the greatest football player to ever live by crossing his arms right in front of him as if to say, "What now, goat?" Y'all, I love Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. CD Deuce, whatever you want to call him. I want him on my team. And I am not happy today. You may have to kill the violins. I might actually cry. Yeah, you can go ahead and take it. I mean, we know why this happened, don't we? Like, we know why this happened. I mean, Dennis Allen was asked point blank if this was about the contract.
Was the trade related to his contract situation?
You know what? I think we're just going to let that go, and it was just an opportunity for us to do what we felt like would help our team.
Translation, of course it was about the contract. Jeff Duncan right now is reporting that the Saints and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson were at $4 million apart on the contract. And when there is a gap that significant, you're not going to find a middle ground. Both sides will have to go too far off their number to find something that works. And we saw it. I mean, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson had sort of the hold in during camp when he asked for the new contract and kind of missed a few practices, was back. But yeah, we've just seen this too much. The Saints do not get emotional about players. They went through long, arduous contract disputes with Drew Brees, literally the greatest player in the history of the organization. They went through multiple arduous contract disputes. A year ago, we saw Trey Hendrickson walk. This year, we saw Marcus Williams walk. They let Mark Ingram walk over what ended up being pennies relative to NFL contracts. We just know the Saints' approach. The Saints have a number, and they're not going over it. They know what they're willing to pay a player, and they're not going over it. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson wants to be the highest paid nickelback in the NFL. And the Saints and CeeDee Deuce were just too far apart. So the Saints had two options. One, you let him play out this season, and like Hendrickson and like Marcus Williams, you let him walk in free agency and get nothing for him. Two, you trade him now and get something for him because you know he's not signing with you next year anyway because his asking price is too high. And maybe someone else will give him that number. Maybe not. That's what happened with Mark Ingram. They said, Mark, go test the market. And the market wasn't there for him. Not like he thought it would be. But clearly with the Eagles doing this deal, they're telling you they're going to pay Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And you can look and say, well, they only got a fifth and a sixth. But friends, don't you think the Saints took the best offer? I mean, don't you think? It's not like Philly picked up the phone and said, hey, Mickey, we'd like to trade for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. How about a fifth and a sixth round pick? Sounds good to me. Done. Come on, y'all. Of course they worked the phones. Of course they called every team. They tried to field the best offer. Of course you do. And you could say, well, that's not market value. Yes, it is. Because that's what the market was willing to pay for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Because not only are you giving up assets, but you're going to have to pay him as well. We talk about it all the time. You have to have a willing trade partner. And the Eagles clearly gave the Saints the best offer for a guy like CeeDee Deuce. And the reality is that the secondary this season in New Orleans is going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Emotionally, this sucks. But you know they're going to be fine. CeeDee Deuce missed 5 games a year ago, y'all. Bradley Roby filled in at the nickel. They were fine. You'll have Marshawn Lattimore on one side. You'll have Paulson Adebo on the other. Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus Mayer, your safeties. Bradley Roby's your nickel. Let's say hypothetically, if Adebo's not healthy enough, ready to go for the opener, no worries. Bradley Roby goes to the outside. Alontae Taylor steps in as your nickel, your second-round pick. This also clears up why they drafted Alontae Taylor, doesn't it? They were getting plenty of insurance in that spot. So, y'all, I know that on the field, they're going to be fine. The secondary is one of the strengths of the team. They clearly come to a point where they know they were at an impasse and they weren't going to be able to re-sign this player, so they got assets for him. It's the old adage. You'd rather get rid of a player a year too soon than a year too late. And especially having watched Hendrickson and Marcus Williams walk without getting anything for them, they weren't going to let that happen again. And a team that's been so free to trade draft assets now recoups a couple in the next few years. But the gigantic question is, how do you replace his attitude? The Saints have put a premium so much on culture throughout the years. How do you replace the guy that, when he's on your team, plays with that swag, that is unafraid? The guy that's willing to go fold his arms in front of Tom Brady, that's willing to yank another dude's mouthpiece out of his helmet, a dude that's willing to get into to provoke his own teammate so much that he fights him at practice. How do you replace that guy? And the answer is you don't. You don't replace that component that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson brought to this team. Intellectually, I get it. I understand what the Saints did today. Emotionally, it's a gut punch, y'all. All right. It's after further review. We'll grab a quick break. Cat Terrell's with us in 1 hour from right now. We'll talk about the Saints roster moves and, of course, the CD Deuce trade. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020. Eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. That's the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. No matter your age or refractive issue, they can get you seeing 2020 without contacts or glasses. Call the Williamson Eye Center today, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. Okay, y'all, quick break. Get some of your reaction to the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson news. And, y'all, have you seen the amount of action on the LSU win total this year? Oh, if you haven't seen this yet, buckle up. That's next.
AFR.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Kids have staked out their place at Ochsner Medical Complex The Grove, where more than 30 pediatricians and pediatric specialists are all conveniently located under one roof, so you can spend less time driving and more time keeping your kids well. Yes! It's no wonder kids call dibs at The Grove. Ochsner Health Center for Children.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them.
after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I'm glad you're rolling along with us here. We'll get tons of your reaction to the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson news. We'll talk to Cat Terrell next hour about it as well. And as we continue to watch throughout the next hour or so, we'll get an idea of all of the players that have not made the Saints 53-man roster. I do want to remind you, though, and I'll say it again, it's not the final 53, it's the first 53, because invariably there are going to be players that make the 53 today that are released tomorrow when the Saints sign someone who was released from another team. We've talked a lot about offensive line. You probably saw Alex Leatherwood was waived today. Now, he's a former first-round pick of the Raiders. He has certainly not played well, but Alex Leatherwood was waived. The Saints could certainly put in a waiver claim. Now, I don't know if he'll get to 18, where the Saints are slotted in the. It's basically the same as the draft order. And remember, the Saints were drafted Olave 12th because they moved up. Their original slot in the draft is 18th, so that's where they are in the waiver claim order. So, but undoubtedly, the Saints are going to be looking for help at running back. They're going to be looking for help at offensive line. So, the final 53 today is actually the first 53, because there will be guys tomorrow who think they made the team today who won't be on the team. Part of my game week is I always kind of lock into the whoever LSU or the Saints happen to be playing, the opposing media who are covering the team over the course of a week. This was kind of crazy to see. Trey Benson, the running back from Florida State, told reporters that he almost had an anxiety attack before Florida State's game against Duquesne on Saturday. I don't want to make fun of this. I certainly don't, because, look, anxiety is people legit have issues with anxiety. I'm not in any way minimizing that. Like, that is a very real thing. I have a very close relative that struggles with anxiety and has had anxiety attacks and literally thought they were having a heart attack and dying. That's how severe it was. So I'm not making fun of the anxiety. It's and by the way, he went and ran for 100 yards. So it worked out okay for Trey Benson. It is interesting, though, to say it's a home game against Duquesne. How will he handle emotionally before the game a neutral site game in the Dome against LSU? And Benson was at Oregon, but this is really his first significant action. So that's certainly a storyline worth watching. Another thing, as part of playing in week 0 is, yes, you get the experience of a live dress rehearsal, but you also put your team at risk. And we did see a couple of Florida State players go down in that ball game, and one of them was linebacker Amari Gaynor. And Mike Norvell, when he met with the media today, Tuesday, said, this is courtesy of our friend Carter Carls from Go Noles at or Noles Sports, nolesports.com at the Tallahassee Democratic Gazette. I said Mike Norvell said linebacker Amari Gaynor probably will not play against LSU after he went down with an injury against Duquesne. That is very significant because if you remember, a week ago, we told you that Florida State had another season-ending injury at linebacker to linebacker Steven Dix. So Steven Dix was a guy who played in every game last year, but was still a rotational guy after starting a little bit as in 2020. But DJ Lundy, Kalen DeLoach, and Amari Gaynor were their 3 returning key contributors at linebacker, and they added Tatum Bethune, who's a Central Florida transfer. So those are the 4 guys who are expected to be their key contributors, with Dix as well to be like their 5 guys. So Bethune and Dix were going to be the 2 rotational guys behind Lundy, DeLoach, and Gaynor. Well, you've now lost Steven Dix for the season, and Mike Norvell is saying that Amari Gaynor's not going to, probably won't play against LSU. So of their 5 linebackers that they were rotating, 1 certainly is not available, and it looks like Amari Gaynor, according to Mike Norvell, isn't going to play either. So that Florida State defensive line is very good. We've talked about it enough. It's the strength of their team, certainly the strength of their defense, but certainly a defensive line, in many instances creates lanes and holes for linebackers to fill and make plays. And Florida State is thin at linebacker now. That is very, very safe to say, but we'll follow that one throughout the week. We'll keep an eye on it. Looks like Amari Gaynor likely won't play for Florida State against LSU. He's actually, Amari Gaynor is Florida, to put this into perspective, he is Florida State's active career leader with 193 career tackles. There's nobody on the Florida State roster presently that has made more tackles than Amari Gaynor, who's played since 2018. So he's a fifth-year guy, and looks like he's not going to be available for Florida State against LSU, which unfortunate news for the young man. Pretty good news for LSU. But it's after further review. You can always join us. You can email us, Matt at 1045ESPN.com. Tweet us at Matt Moscona.
Hey, Twitter world.
Thank you, Juice. You can jump in the Bayou Forward YouTube chat or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. I want to get to the story I teased a moment ago. What bettors are hammering the LSU total. I'm going to get to that in just a quick second. I do want to remind you about Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Our buddy Cade Beloso, LSU baseball player, just did an NIL deal with Cade. I've told you about it before, but our approach to NIL, we call it the Hudco Hometown Heroes, and we will take a portion of the net from every roofing job we do. So we replace your roof, we'll take a portion of the net and commit it to an NIL deal with the athlete of your choice. Any sport, any school, doesn't matter. If you have a relative that's a lacrosse player at Washington, doesn't matter. We'll do the deal. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Just another incentive to give us a shout at Hudco Roofing, and we're certainly happy to support all athletes in all different sports. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Learn more about the Hudco Hometown Heroes program at HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. So, over the course of the past few weeks, we have talked a good bit about how there are certain clusters that are starting to be more optimistic about LSU this coming season. We mentioned how ESPN's FPI has LSU favored in 9 games. We've talked about the Blue Chip Index. The Blue Chip Index was created by 24/7 Sports, our friend Bud Elliott. It is an index which says if better than 50% of your players are either 4 or 5 stars, then you have a chance to win a national championship. That's what it calls the Blue Chip Index. LSU is one of 15 schools on the Blue Chip Index. The ESPN College Football Playoff, the All-State Playoff Predictor, LSU had the 12th best odds of any team in the country to make the playoffs. Again, it's only 3%, but they're on that list when so few teams actually are. So there are a lot of metrics. Now, look, the flip side of it's also true. If Vegas has LSU over under at 7.5, or 7, excuse me. Bill Connolly's SP Plus metric had LSU as a 6-win team. So there are some metrics that don't like LSU, to be certain. You know who loves LSU? Sports bettors. I saw this today. Right now, and this is at Caesars, okay? The school taking the most under action is Texas. Texas's totals at 8.5. The most action on the under is Texas. But the team taking the most action on the over, meaning bettors are picking that team to win more than its total. Your Fighting Tigers of LSU. Tigers are pegged at 7 wins. Get this. This is the part that floored me, okay? Because it's not just that bettors are betting over the total. Look, LSU is a brand name. Brian Kelly's a great coach. You look at LSU at 7 and you go, of course LSU will win more than 7. But how about this? 91.7% of the tickets on LSU's total are over 7. 82.5% of the handle over 7. Y'all, normally when I see something like that, I run the other direction because Vegas doesn't make a habit of being wrong. So if you see heavy public sentiment one way, go the other way. But y'all, when you look at not only the amount of tickets, but also the handle being so heavily favored toward LSU and the over, that speaks volumes. It's one thing if I'll do simple math. If you had 1,000 tickets at $10 a pop betting the over, that's public money. That's the recreational gamblers like, oh, LSU, yeah, for sure, man. 7, they'll get more than 7. They always have talent. They got Ed Ogeron out there, Brian Kelly. Yeah, throw $10 on. Okay. But what's more impactful is if the one professional gambler comes in and throws 10 grand on the over. So that way the money becomes closer to even though the number of tickets is disproportionate. Does that make sense? In this case, when 82.5% of the money of the handle is on the over, they're telling you even professional gamblers are taking LSU on the over. I will be very interested to see if and or how much Vegas starts to alter that number, if that starts to move, because Vegas doesn't like to be over leveraged that much. It's just rare. And this may be one of those rare instances where they could potentially just be very wrong if even the professional money is coming in heavy on LSU and the over. So, look, a gigantic part of LSU hitting that total is you have to win your 4 non-conference games. And that starts Sunday in the Dome against Florida State, where the Tigers are a field goal favorite. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. Tuesday show is brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. We'll knock out a quick break. We'll go around the SEC. Cat Terrell in about 45 minutes. Everything Saints we need to know today from the CD Deuce trade, and then, of course, all of the roster cuts as well, which do include Ian Book, who was cut today waived today by the Saints. If he clears waivers, no doubt they'll sign him back to the practice squad, but he will not be part of the 53. No surprise. We've been telling you that for weeks. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org. Healthcare expertise right here in Baton Rouge, partnered with the Mayo Clinic. They're part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network, which you hear me say often, that allows clinical collaboration between your physician in Baton Rouge and the experts at the Mayo Clinic. brgeneral.org to learn more, brgeneral.org to learn more. Of course, they've got facilities all over the greater Baton Rouge area. The Mid-City campus, the Bluebonnet campus, the Ascension Neighborhood Hospital, all of the Baton Rouge General Express Care locations that I tell you about. That's walk-in, urgent care, 7 days a week. Check availability and wait times right now at brgeneral.org or on the Baton Rouge General app. The Pennington Cancer Center, the Regional Burn Center, the Heart and Vascular Center, emergency care, and you can even deliver your baby at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Learn more, brgeneral.org.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital. auctioneer.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Tyrann Mathieu deleted a tweet last night where he said the only job where youth beats out experience without actually being better. An hour later, he tweeted a whole bunch of ha-has and deleted the tweet. He explained, I would have assumed, some thought that maybe Tyrann's time in New Orleans would be done, or which financially would make no sense at all, but that was part of what was a Twitter last night on the Twitter machine. But apparently, this morning, Tyrann Mathieu told Pro Football Talk that the deleted tweet was about Tony Jefferson being released, and he told Pro Football Talk, he quote, had nothing to do with me or the Saints. So that's good. But this is the second time this offseason Tyrann's had to delete tweets. Like, look, I love Tyrann. I get it. Ain't no good in this town to try to criticize Tyrann Mathieu, and I am not. Love me some Tyrann Mathieu. Love me the Honey Badger. Love me the Badger Juice beer that's coming out from Tin Roof. I love it all. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. But, bro, you've been around a bend long enough, man. Give us some context on the tweets, all right? You know what's going to happen. Like, you know what's going to happen, man. If all you do is sit there and tweet out cryptic stuff, people are going to draw conclusions, man. Come on. Just say, go put your tweet with a quote tweet of a player being cut. Like, at least just give us some context behind what it is so we don't all go chasing our heads. All right. Chasing our tails. Chicken with the heads cut off. That's what it means. Combine the two. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. We do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Excellence in imaging solutions. The Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky will not have all SEC running back Chris Rodriguez for its season opener. That had been reported by Matt Jones of Kentucky Sports Radio. It has now been confirmed by Mark Stoops, but not just Rodriguez. Senior outside linebacker Jordan Wright also among the suspended players. No reason given, although we do know Rodriguez was arrested for DUI and careless driving back in May. Fellow senior Kavasier Smoke will slide into that role as a feature back throughout Rodriguez's absence. The big one, of course, is week 2 when Kentucky takes on the Gators.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn starting center Nick Brahms is retiring from football. He did attempt to come back from knee surgery in the winter. He's a 6th-year player, but ultimately one of the most experienced linemen in the SEC. 33 career starts, but he missed the bowl game after undergoing surgery, missed all of spring practice as well, tried to come back, but ultimately has decided to retire from football. Tate Johnson, former 4-star prospect who did not play last season, He will be Auburn's starting center. Auburn opens the season Saturday against Mercer.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Carolina and Coach Shane Beamer have updated injury status for several players heading into Saturday's opener for the Gamecocks. Punter Kai Kroger battling a foot injury. He practiced on Tuesday. Running back Christian Beal-Smith, who's been dealing with an ankle injury, did practice on Tuesday morning as well. And wide receiver Corey Rucker is the biggest question mark. And Beamer said he probably has a ways to go to be ready for Saturday, but all three are expected to play key roles for Carolina this season.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
And left tackle prospect out of South Carolina, Monroe Freeling, 6'8", 292-pound tackle. He has committed to the Georgia Bulldogs, picking the defending champs over Bama, Clemson, Florida, and Miami. He's the number 8 offensive tackle prospect in the country for 2023, the number 63 overall recruit. He is the 4th offensive line commit for Georgia's 2023 class. And there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. You realize they have been in business for 45 years? It's incredible. Near a half century. And for the last 20 years, they've been the official office equipment provider of LSU Athletics. Our friends over at Gulf Coast Office Products, they love to support the local teams. The Tigers, the New Orleans Saints, the New Orleans Pelicans, the ULL Raging Cajuns. Tell you every day, they're a national leader among Savin dealers, which is a mouthful. A national leader among Savin dealers right here in Baton Rouge. But they will service all different makes and models. Of course, they've got the offices in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, on the North Shore, and in Lafayette's Gulf Coast Office Products. GCOPnet.com, GCOPnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, it's after further review. I saw earlier today, not sure if you saw it, but LSU wide receiver commit Shelton Sampson got an NIL deal. It's a clothing deal that he did with Louisiana Rich. Can't say that I'm familiar, but Louisiana Rich Sports did an NIL deal with Shelton Sampson and 2 of his high school teammates as well. They released a video over at Catholic. They released a video with their families and getting their threads. These guys are dressed to the T, man. That's pretty awesome. So congrats to those guys for getting an NIL deal. And that is kind of the thing that I like. That I like so much. And by the way, it's Jacob and Josh Johnson, the Catholic High offensive linemen who are with Shelton Sampson in the video. But this is another example of one of the great parts about NIL. These are young guys that have a reach, that have brand awareness and recognition, and can do a deal to get a suit, a dress shirt, or something like that, and something that makes sense for the business owner as well. You know, we so often with NIL, we focus so heavily on, you know, John Ruiz, the billionaire in Miami, pulling a basketball player from Kansas State for $800K, or it's the Tennessee quarterback prospect getting, you know, which reported an $8 million deal in Knoxville. If that's real or not, don't know. But we focus so much on those, and we forget the majority of NIL deals that are done actually have great brand value for both the athlete and the business that they're working with, and that's a great example of it. So good to see Shelton Sampson get an NIL deal done already while he's still in high school. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll wrap up hour number 1 when we come back next. In 15 minutes, I just mentioned it looks like Florida State's down a linebacker. Amari Gaynor got hurt against Duquesne. Doesn't look like he's going to play against LSU. I do want to talk about LSU's health. Brian Kelly updated some of the injuries that they faced, but also talked in generalities about how and why this has been such a healthy camp for LSU. Is it possible they can continue this week and throughout the year? I want to talk about that coming up in about 15 minutes. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
About 30 minutes before I came on air, I got a phone call. Answered it. Mr. Moscona, this is River City's 1 Hour Air calling to schedule your annual maintenance on your Home Central AC. Would you like to schedule it now? Yes, I would. So next week, Wednesday, I think to be exact, River City's 1 Hour Air will be at my house. I tell you all the time to join the membership club. It's totally worth it. The seasonal maintenance on your heater and your AC is complimentary. and they called you to schedule, like they did for me today. And that's not just because I endorsed them. The lady on the phone had no idea that I endorsed River City's 1 Hour Air. I was just the next one on her list to call. But that makes sure my units stay in tip-top shape, running efficiently. I practice what I preach, y'all. It's worth it to get that maintenance done to make sure the life of your units last, and also could keep little issues from becoming very big, very expensive issues. River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger?
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number one. I'm pissed off. I'm serious. I'm like really, I am pissed off right now. I'm pissed off. It's not about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I'm sad about that. Talked about that to open the show. If you're just joining us and you missed it, go back and watch the beginning of the show. I talked plenty about it. And we got Cat Terrell coming up in 25 minutes. We'll talk more. The Saints, air quotes, final 53. They have now published their the Saints have made public their roster moves. I'll run through this very quickly, just so you know. These are the players that have not made the team. So they have terminated the contracts of 6 players. Josh Andrews, John Bostic, Taco Charlton, J.P. Holtz, Nick Martin, Eric Wilson. Honestly, a little surprised about Bostic and Wilson, 2 linebackers that didn't make it. Taco Charlton's maybe the biggest name there that surprised a lot of people. The Saints have waived the following 12 players, meaning these are players that if they clear waivers, the Saints would want to potentially sign back onto the practice squad. They are Ian Book, Dijene Dixon, DeMarcus Fields, Vincent Gray, Chase Hansen. It's that's surprise, 3 linebackers. Jordan Jackson, the rookie defensive lineman out of Air Force. Lucas Krull, the undrafted free agent out of Pitt. Nico Lalos, Kirk Merritt, who's a surprise. Many thought he would make this roster. Derek Schweiger, Nafai Sewell, another linebacker that did make the team. And Rashid Shaheed out of Weber State. The Saints placed Albert Huggins on injured reserve. And Kawan Baker is on the commissioner's reserve suspended list. So you wonder why I'm pissed off. There's a very obvious name that made this 53-man roster. And if I had hair, I'd pull out what little hair I had. Traquan Smith made the 53. What more does this guy have to not do to justify kicking his ass to the curb? Like, I have no personal vendetta against this man. I don't know Traquan Smith. What I do know is as a football player who you invested a 3rd-round pick in, he's been a chump, a total bust, a waste. Last year, when you needed somebody to step up, when Michael Thomas was hurt and you had no receiving options, you know who stepped up? Undrafted free agent Marquez Callaway. Undrafted free agent Deontay Harris, Hardy. You know who didn't? You know who vanished? Traquan Smith. Because that's what he is. It's unbelievable. You punt him to the curb. You don't re-sign him. He's a free agent. He gets 1 workout. 1. With your division rival Atlanta Falcons, they don't sign him. And so you bring him back, and then he makes his team. My hope, my sincere hope, is that when I tell you all the time it's first 53, not final, is that tomorrow there is a move somewhere to bring someone in, and Traquan Smith is gone. How this man, I do not want to hear ever again, well, he's a great blocker. To hell with being a great blocker. You got many great blockers. I don't care if you're a receiver that blocks on the outside. Jarvis Landry's a physical player. Mike Thomas is a physical player. I don't need Traquan Smith on my roster ever. I'm going to lose it today. I'm going to friggin' lose it. We had punted this cat to the Island of Misfit Toys in this offseason, thought he was gone forever, and he's like the alley cat that just won't leave your house. Get out of here. It's preseason. But what it shows you is the Saints now, this is a change from the norm. If the Saints invested a draft pick in you, they're going to keep you around. That's typical, but Sean Payton, early days, I mean, Antonio Pittman is the most common one, isn't it? Antonio Pittman, they drafted Antonio Pittman in the 4th round. Pierre Thomas just beat him out. They cut Antonio Pittman. As a rookie, cut him. Signed Pierre Thomas. Great move. I mean, obviously it worked out. I mean, y'all, we have seen this before. Who is the Stanley Jean-Baptiste? 2nd round pick. Awful decision. Booted him to the curb year 2. Not no more. They are just hanging on to Zach Bond. They are just hanging on to Traquan Smith. Dudes that have given you no production, have been massive disappointments, and you are wasting roster spots by retaining these 2 players. Stunning. As valuable as every roster spot is in the NFL, to continue to retain these 2 players who have shown you they are not able to play at this level, at a high enough level, consistent with what you expect, and to continue to retain them is unthinkable. All that is ego. That is ego. It's what it is. You drafted these players. You used an asset to select them to your team, and you don't want to admit we were wrong. So you keep giving them more and more rope, which I understand to a degree, but we're beyond that point now with both these cats. All right, Cat Terrell will join us in 20 minutes, see if she agrees. I'm going to take a breath, take a break, go splash some water on my face, And we'll come back and we'll talk about LSU and Florida State and their health heading into Sunday.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. 288-8138, 288-8138, or reliefwindows.com. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. Check them out. I tell you all the time, windows, doors, and siding. Of course, you know about the energy-efficient replacement windows. You know about the beautiful entry doors. But do you know about hardy plank and vinyl siding? You can check out the website to learn more at reliefwindows.com, reliefwindows.com. You can learn more about all the great values and benefits of high-quality siding, like durability. It's long-lasting. It's resistant to warping and cracking and damage caused by weather or insects like we deal with in Louisiana. Lasting color comes finished in whatever color that you want. There's great variety as well of whatever color you want. So you can check them out. Go to the showroom. The Relief Windows showroom on Airline Highway in Prairieville, open Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, or look them up online at reliefwindows.com. Windows, door siding, reliefwindows.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Shocking is how 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan is describing quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo's return. Also called it a win-win situation for both sides. Garoppolo and the Niners agreed yesterday to a reworked one-year contract. The deal improved the Niners' backup situation for Trey Lance. Also extends their window to potentially trade Jimmy G before the November trade deadline. The contract has a no-trade clause giving him approval over any deal. NBA, the Knicks' path to an offseason trade to acquire Jazz star Donovan Mitchell has become more difficult, with the team finalizing a 4-year rookie extension with guard R.J. Barrett. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports the teams could restart Mitchell talks before training camp. Two big hang-ups remain, though, in trade discussions, notes Woj.
Unprotected first-round picks, and Quentin Grimes is a player that Utah would have liked to have in the deal with R.J. Barrett. That was a player that New York has wanted to hold on to.
Baseball, the Astros placed ace and AL Cy Young favorite Justin Verlander on the injured list with an injured right calf.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
If you have it.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Matt, I am sweating. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Sean Salisbury, 1 hour from right now. Fired up to have Sean back with us this football season in his Tuesday 5 o'clock slot. That's hour 3. If you're watching on or listening on demand, we appreciate that. Sean will be with us every Tuesday for a couple of segments. We have a college segment and an NFL segment. So we'll get Sean's preview of Week 1, LSU, Florida State, ask him his thoughts on Jaden Daniels, Garrett Nussmeier. And I've got to get some thoughts not only on the Saints, on Jameis's recovery, but also this decision that the Saints made today to trade Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. In just a moment, I'm going to get to what I think is a really important part of Sunday's game with LSU and Florida State, and it's the health of the teams. But very quickly, to reset what is the story of the day. Muse, if you would take I'm going to play this from here. Here was Dennis Allen earlier today on the decision to trade Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Look, I'll just start off by, I'm sure, everybody at this point in time is aware that we traded Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to the Eagles. I want to say this. I want to say that was not an easy decision. I love Chauncey. He's been a big part of what we've been able to do here, specifically defensively, a big part of our organization for the last 3 years. And certainly we wish him the best. We wouldn't have done that if we didn't feel extremely confident in the group that we have. We feel like the defensive backfield was one of the deeper positions that we had, and we had a chance to acquire some more assets, and so that's the decision that we made.
So that was what Dennis Allen had to say, and although he was asked point blank if it was about the contract, he eluded that question. I think it was Cat who actually asked it, and she'll be with us in 10 minutes. But, I got a text from Anthony that said, Matt, we traded him for a ham sandwich, no cheese, and a 3-day-old cup of gumbo. It's apropos, and I think not only that the Saints traded him, but for what they traded is what has a lot of people miffed. I'll continue to say it. Look, there's a report from Ian Rappaport today that Alex Leatherwood, who was waived by the Raiders, that the Raiders called all 32 teams and got 0 offers. Teams are less likely to give up an asset for someone that they know they're going to have to pay if they know they'll have an opportunity to acquire that player at a later date without giving up an asset. This is a little different because now the Eagles have Chauncey this year. But if you're the Saints and you know he's going to walk after this season because you're not going to be able to agree on a contract, you get what you can for him. And you better believe that was the best deal they were able to get. So, I mean, he's not a boundary corner. He's a nickel. I love him. Don't get me wrong. Love him. Want Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to be a Saint for his whole career. Not in the cards. Emotionally, I'm distraught over this. Intellectually, I understand what they're doing and why they did it. We'll talk more about it with Cat Terrell coming up. We good? Okay, Cat Terrell in about 10 minutes from right now. One of the biggest factors for Sunday's game with LSU and Florida State, in my opinion, is the health of the two teams. If you missed the news, on Tuesday, Mike Norvell announced that linebacker Amari Gaynor likely will not play. He was injured against Duquesne. Amari Gaynor is the current career leader, the active career leader in tackles on this Florida State team. This is after Steven Dix Jr., a linebacker a week ago, suffered a season-ending injury. 2 now of Florida State's first 5 linebackers are injured and won't play against LSU. Injuries are significant. Consider the conversations we were having a year ago at this time. Do you realize a few days before LSU was reporting to camp, your presumed starting quarterback broke his arm, and missed the whole season, and that would be the end of his career? Right before you were about to play UCLA, Jared Small, who, if you remember, was taking starting reps at linebacker, tore his ACL the week before the UCLA game. You had offensive line injuries last year in camp as well. Injuries are part of the game. We all know that to be true. Sometimes it's flukish, and sometimes it's actual preparation. You know, I asked Brian Kelly at his press conference on Monday if this is maybe the luckiest or healthiest that he can remember a team coming through camp.
We got a week left. Coming up to this point, Corin Norman, obviously we lost him to an ACL, so I never want to exclude somebody when they've had an injury, and, because it hits back on you later. Coach, what about me, right? But it is, from an injury standpoint, this has been a great camp. I mean, it's got to be graded out from that perspective, and it has a lot to do with the way Coach Flint and Dr. Friggs and Bo have developed this team, and then our players, and their commitment's been outstanding. So yes to that.
Miles Brennan falling and breaking his arm is a fluke. Les Miles continuing to run full contact 11-on-11 with Leonard Fournette carrying the football and Leonard spraining his ankle on the last carry after repeating it over and over. That's just circumstance that could have been avoided. Brian Kelly elaborated a bit on how this team has been able to remain so healthy.
The 3 things that stand out to me are nutrition, strength and conditioning, and our medical personnel, and how that affects and has affected our team and their development. Those 3 groups working together in unison and having the physical plant. And when I say the physical plant, the nutrition center, the weight room, and then the facilities necessary in nutrition, to bring all of those 3 groups together to service and serve our student athletes.
One of the things he mentioned was that they've had only 2 soft tissue injuries. Normally, muscle pulls and strains are very common. Hamstring, quad, they've had 2. As of now, the most severe thing they've dealt with, Jack Besh had shin splints. Chris Hilton and Malik Neighbors have been hobbled a little. Thank goodness that's arguably your most talented position on the field at receiver. Speaking of which, Brian Kelly gave an update on Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, he should be good. I think today is another recovery day. I would believe that probably tomorrow he'll begin drill work. We'll be in a light drill work. But when we get into our normal routine of practice, he'll be cleared to practice. He had an ankle sprain.
One of the things that Brian Kelly has talked about, and he talked about this about looking at LSU a year ago before the UCLA game and looking like a tired team. There were times during his LSU tenure where Ed Orgeron was very good about measuring his team and knowing when to push and when to pull back. When he got the job in the interim in 2016, remember, that was a very veteran football team. You had Fournette and Geis and Jamal Adams and Tre'Davious White, and Kendall Beckwith was a senior, Malachi Dupree. I mean, you had a very veteran football team. Christian Lockature was on that team. Will Clapp was on that team. Ethan Posick. I mean, 2016 was loaded. You had a veteran team. And Les ran them so hard, when Ed took over, he pulled back. And they looked like a lighter, looser team. They were. Ed was also a guy who at times, whenever he felt the stress and the pressure ramp up, he would push his guys too hard. And I think that happened last year because he knew coming out of 2020, he had to win in 2021 to save his job. All the hot seat talk was legitimate, as we saw. So last camp, he pushed very hard. And Brian Kelly's saying, look, it showed against UCLA last year. They were a tired football team. How does this team maintain its legs, maintain its health, its energy level, all that throughout the season? That's going to be a subplot to this season as well. Because, making sure that you know when to push, when to pull back, keeping your guys healthy and ready to play on Saturday is more important than being physical and running them into the ground on Tuesday. So far, the results are thumbs up. And yes, look, Corin Norman is a walk-on running back, suffered a torn ACL. It's certainly unfortunate. But you're also looking at, right now, a team that has avoided major injury. The fact that you didn't have a guy in a pile roll his ankle or his knees, certainly that's a benefit. Florida State has not been so lucky. A transfer center who's played in 34 games, tear a knee, and he's out for the season. I just mentioned they've lost 2 linebackers already. They had a receiver go down on Saturday against Duquesne on the long 51-yard reception. My understanding is he's going to be okay for the LSU game. But LSU's managed to stay healthy. Florida State's battled it a little bit. In a game like this where depth could be tested, so far you would have to lean LSU. Not only this week, but a big question with Kelly as he laid out nutrition, strength and conditioning, the medical staff, all the process they have put in place to keep their guys healthy and fresh. Let's see if that can last out a 12-game gauntlet, certainly an 8-game SEC gauntlet. But so far, the returns are very positive. All right, it's after further review. The Saints, of course, have traded Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and they have cut their roster down to 53. Cat Terrell of ESPN.com joins us next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. That's better coverage for less money. Give them a shout. 293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net. As I share all the time, great testimonials. I've told you mine. I saved $1,600 a year and quadrupled my coverage. I got this one from Adam, who said they wrote a policy, a homeowner's policy for a man named Doug, saved him $1,000 annually, had been with Liberty Mutual. How much money could you save? How much are you overpaying for your insurance? Your home, automobile, camp, boat, motorcycle, RV, whatever it may be. Insurance Network of Louisiana, let them shop independently for free to see if they can get you better coverage for less money. 293-0450, 293-0450. Call them right now, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net.
When I was a boy, I spent my days climbing trees, catching fish. Barefoot in the river I walked, listening to crickets, counting stars. This was home. After my stroke, I wondered if I'd make it back to the people and places I love. But I got the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Your card matters. Your home does too.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Complicated, difficult. There's a lot of thought that goes into every single decision that we make. We don't do anything haphazardly, and so kind of a lot of late nights trying to figure some things out.
Dennis Allen, when asked to describe what the last couple of days have been like for him as the Saints have settled on a 53-man roster, as I often say, a first 53, not a final 53, because it will certainly change tomorrow. Cat Terrell has been following it all closely. Of course, now the ESPN Saints reporter. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Cat, we always appreciate it. How are you?
I'm doing great. Can I just say how happy I am that these cuts now occur on a Tuesday and not a Saturday? Used to be on the same day as the LSU opener. I'm just saying. There's a lot going on.
That is a great point. I'd never even considered that, but I would imagine as an NFL beat writer following the roster cuts as you're trying to tailgate, look, keg stands, and then look, Traquan Smith made the team. Like, I'd be pissed off. So, hey, let me start with the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson trade, though. I just start with your reaction to it.
Well, first of all, I was on the phone with my boss when that happened, so that was kind of funny. But when it happened, I kept seeing all these tweets that just said, wow, I'm so shocked. And in my mind, I was thinking, was no one reading between the lines when Dennis Allen was talking to the media about, I guess, three weeks ago, around August 4th, CJ was having his hold-in, basically, contract standoff, wasn't doing team drills. I don't think he was doing 7-on-7. And Dennis Allen was asked about it, and he was also then asked about Bradley Roby. And he specifically said, Bradley Roby's doing a great job. He can play inside and outside. And I thought it was just very pointed saying, hey, we've got a guy right here that we think can play the inside. So if you don't want to participate, I mean, that's on you. And the contract standoff kind of ended a few days later. So, it's possible I'm reading too much into that, but I just thought that was interesting. And I just wasn't fully shocked at the news that happened today.
You did. It was you who asked him the question, right, about the contract being the reason?
Yes, and he didn't answer.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't expect him to, but you do.
I don't either.
You do assume, as do I, that was the primary motivator. They knew they weren't going to get a deal done, so move him now and get something for him, yes?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it. I know there's a lot of talk as to, well, why didn't they wait? They could have gotten the third-round compensatory pick. I mean, when you gamble it's a gamble. You don't know. You don't know that he would have gone out and had a great season. You don't know that he would have gone out and gotten hurt week one, or that the contract wouldn't have become a bigger lingering issue in the locker room. I mean, there's reasons for everything, and that's obviously as much as the team was willing to give for him, and they just wanted to move on from it. So, look, CJ's a very talented player, extremely interesting player to cover, and I'm definitely going to miss that aspect of it. But I think they just felt having Roby there, who wasn't going to do much if he didn't have, this role that he's going to have now, I assume. They just felt like they probably had a lot of depth and they could afford to make the move. But, it definitely, like I said, CJ's a very good player. It definitely is a blow in that respect.
They also have Alontae Taylor. Justin Evans made the team as well. Do you see any of those roles shifting with those guys?
Well, I think they're going to probably try to figure out a way to get Taylor on the field. I think since day one, he's kind of made himself stand out. And he kind of, when he got drafted, I remember the reaction on draft night was, why are they drafting this position when they have enough guys in front of him that he's not going to play? But I thought he kind of quieted those questions pretty quickly. Part of it's his attitude. He's a very confident guy. He knows who he is, and I could see the Saints trying to figure out how to get him on the field. And it's probably the same thing with Roby a little bit. You kind of saw he came back at a reduced contract earlier in the spring because Paulson Adebo performed so well that Roby wasn't needed like he was last year. Now they're going to find a way to utilize him. And I don't quite know how that's all going to play out because Adebo's not practicing right now. So maybe we see Taylor sooner than we think. It's hard to know until next week when they really need these guys to practice.
Cat Terrell's with us, ESPN.com. She's on Twitter at @Cat_Terrell. Okay, so the 53-man roster cuts are in. What is most notable to you?
That they're so light on linebackers. I had some of the linebackers making the roster that didn't, simply for a numbers game. I think that Pete Werner, I'm not completely sold on him playing next week. Even though he was at practice today, I still think that's up in the air. And so after Werner and Demario Davis, it's kind of like, okay, who could go out there and actually perform well? Andrew Dowell made the team because he's very good at special teams. And I know he's probably grown this year as a player, but when they had him have to play defense against Carolina last year, it didn't go well. Same thing with Zach Bond. So they got to figure out who can actually back these guys up besides Caden Ellis, who would take the Sam role. So I think they're going to keep looking.
Kirk Merritt being cut is a surprise because he got so much attention in camp. To what do you attribute that decision?
Well, I thought Kirk Merritt had a great camp. I think when you look at the true numbers of how many players actually get claimed, and fans worry about this every year. Last year, I saw that it was 26 players across the league, and apparently that was on the high side. So it happens less than you think because then the team has to put that player on their 53. And so maybe Kirk Merritt does get claimed, but you have to consider from another team's perspective, the Saints probably value him more than another team would. So I think the Saints think we can probably get him on the practice squad. Now, I mean, we'll find out tomorrow, obviously, but if Merritt had stayed on the roster, it would have been hard for him to have a role on game day people automatically look at Traquan Smith and say, okay, why does Merritt not make the roster when Traquan Smith presumably does? He's hurt right now. And that's because Traquan has a role on game day as a blocker. So it might not be the most exciting role, but he has a role. So you kind of got to think of it that way. Would this player have actually been active on game day? And if so, would he have contributed? And that being said, I think if the Saints can get him on the practice squad, they're going to breathe a sigh of relief and hope they can develop him.
What about Ian Book?
Back to the claiming thing, I do not think Ian Book showed enough this summer for the Saints to think they were going to lose him. In the years past, when you had Taysom, you had to have a third guy because Taysom was out there putting himself at risk for injury all the time, playing all those other roles. Without Taysom as a quarterback, you can afford to have two quarterbacks and two quarterbacks only on the active roster, and that's really what every single team would like. No one wants to carry three quarterbacks, but some situations like that made it you had to. So it was just a luxury item they didn't need.
So essentially, on a game day, you'd have Jameis, you'll have Andy Dalton, and then your emergency quarterback would be Taysom Hill. Is that what you would assume?
Probably. I mean, I guess it could be Kamara, but at this point, if Taysom's not a full-time quarterback, you're right. Like, you would assume it would be Taysom. You know, it's so weird. Teams never, ever want to reveal who their emergency quarterback is, and I really don't understand why, because theoretically, they're never going to play, and if they do, some disaster happened.
Well, wasn't that the thing last year? Because there was a game where Peyton acknowledged that it might have been the Miami game, maybe, where Kamara would have been the emergency quarterback if they needed.
I think so.
Yeah, that's so
I think
odd.
so. But the funny thing is, because like COVID has totally ruined like the mystique of the emergency quarterback. Like we thought for years, oh my gosh, it would be so much fun to have to watch this emergency quarterback come out and play and see how he does. And then we actually had to see it, and it was horrible. And not just the Saints, it's for everybody. So now no one ever wants to see that again. That's what happened. It's not fun to watch. It's actually really boring.
Who's the practice squad receiver from the Broncos who played against the Saints?
That's exactly what I was thinking of. That poor guy,
Oh.
he did his best. But, you know, I mean, what are you going to do?
You sound like such a mom. The poor guy, he did his best.
He did. I probably shouldn't be saying that about, like, NFL players, that they all get compensated, you know, pretty well to be saying they did their best. But in that situation, that is not what that guy signed up for.
Cat Terrell's with us. Hey, before you go, you mentioned they're light on linebackers. I think it's safe to say they need a rotational lineman. They need help at tackle. What do you suggest they do? What do you think they'll do?
They do, and I think that they're gonna keep looking. You know, there is an interesting guy that used to be with the Saints that just got cut by the Steelers. So I kind of wonder if they would go try to get John LeGlue back, because he actually, once the Saints cut him a few years ago, I thought he did very well with the Steelers, and he can play a couple of positions. So, I mean, that's a guy, local kid, went to Tulane. The other one, I wonder if sometimes they do this. Sometimes they cut players early to try to get them under the radar. I kind of wonder if they would try to bring Derek Kelly back. Not sure. He was one of those Sunday cuts. I mean, your mind kind of assumes, okay, that was just the easiest cut, but it's not always that way. So we'll kind of see what they do in the next 2 days. But you're right. They need to keep looking at linemen, especially with Penning potentially going on short-term IR.
Follow her on Twitter at cat_Terrell. Read her stuff at ESPN.com. Saints are down to 53, and like we always say, Cat, it's the first 53 because it will change tomorrow, almost certainly. So we'll be following along. Appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Yep, thanks for having me on.
All right, be well. We're brought to you by GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans. They do it all at GMFSmortgage.com. You can check them out online. If you want to find a local loan officer near you, do it at GMFSmortgage.com. The best thing to do is go to the website, hit the loan officers tab there at the top, and choose a loan officer nearest you. They're all over the state of Louisiana. No matter who it is, their local loan officers are incredible. I've told you about the experience that Erica and I had with the Bickley team, but it extends so far beyond that no matter where you are in the state. GMFSmortgage.com. our state's largest local lender, number 11 in the country, USDA loans. It's GMFS Mortgage. They want to be your lender for life. Home buy, refi, construction loans. They do it all. GMFSmortgage.com. Good stuff there from Cat Terrell. If you want to join us, you're welcome to do that. Of course, Jim'sFirearms.net phone lines, where all of our guests are courtesy. You can email us, tweet us. You can jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat or text your question or comment, the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Y'all have heard me enough over the years talk about Traquan. I don't buy the fact that he blocks. I mean, I know, I'm not saying Cat's wrong. That's the explanation we've heard from the Saints forever, is that he blocks. And I'm not saying blocking is irrelevant. I'm not saying blocking, that's not important. What I'm saying is you got physical receivers on your team who are willing blockers in the running game. It's a wasted roster spot for a guy that's not going to produce for you when you need him to, and he's shown it time and time again. And the only reason you continue to hang around, that guy continues to hang around, is because you invested a third-round pick in him. That's it. All right, Sean Salisbury, 29 minutes from right now. Looking forward to having Sean in for a couple of segments. We'll talk about the Saints roster moves today, preview week 1 in college football, talk tons of quarterback with Sean as well. Always enjoy having him with us. He'll be a staple with us on Tuesdays again this football season. We're looking forward to it. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Let me knock out a quick break. When we continue, I want to ask a question, and I'm curious your answer, legitimately. I have really learned here in the last week or so how intensely Notre Dame fans are going to follow LSU and Brian Kelly. I'm curious if the opposite is also true. If LSU fans are going to be interested in what Marcus Freeman does at Notre Dame. I want to talk a little bit about that. I got some bold projections as well we'll delve into when we come back on AFR.
AFR. It's a raving fan shout-out. Presented by Darren James & Associates, brokered by eXp Realty.
This is a 5-star Zillow review from the Guillory family. Darren and his team are amazing. They were all so responsive and helpful. Any questions I had were explained in detail. Hardest working realtor in the area. Most importantly, Darren was compassionate during the emotional time of selling my family's home. Darren understands that maybe better than anyone. And I've told you this in the past. There was a family home for parents, elderly parents who had passed. Children were selling the home. It was very emotional. Darren commissioned an artist to do a painting of the home, and at closing gave a copy of it to all of the children. It's that next level, above and beyond care that Darren James brings. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I mentioned you can always email us, Matt at 1045ESPN.com. Frank Cruz emailed and said, Matt, I think we, the Saints, are in win-now mindset. Why not just let Chauncey play this year, let him leave next year, get a quality player for 1 year versus hampering our team and getting late-round picks in the future? It's a good thought, and I do agree that the Saints are in win-now mode. I think what Cat said there is right. The Saints feel like they're okay in the secondary without Chauncey. When he had turf toe last year, they played without him for 5 games, and they were okay. Bradley Roby is a really good slot, and they're in the nickel. And if Paulson Adebo's not back, Bradley Roby's a really good number 2, which he was in Houston, which is why you traded for him. I mean, you traded for him last year because you thought Lattimore might be suspended, P-Rob retired. I mean, you remember the whole thing? Like, you were going into last year thinking Ken Crowley and Paulson Adebo, a rookie who hadn't played in 2 years, were going to be your starters, which is why they made the deal for Bradley Roby. But he's a really good player, so I think they feel good about it, and they like Alontae Taylor. I mean, again, y'all, I want to reiterate, emotionally, I'm devastated. I literally think this is the hardest I've ever taken a trade on my favorite team. I mean, I've thought about it a lot today. I think this is, for me, the worst. It's like the heart. But here, when I'm in this chair, I'm not a fan emoting to you. I'm trying to give commentary on why they made the decision they did, and if competitively it's a good decision, it'll make the team better. And I don't think you're better without Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. The question is your franchise, was this the right decision for your franchise? Because you were going to lose Chauncey just like you lost Marcus Williams, just like you lost Trey Henderson. The sides are too far apart financially. So you get something for him, and you're at a position where you feel like you're good enough without him. So, again, intellectually I get it. Emotionally I hate it. The march to the postseason in college football begins in earnest on Thursday. USA Today published their they published their bowl projections. They got 12 SEC teams in bowl games. Muse, you want to guess which 2 are not projected to go to bowl games?
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
That'd be one of them. Give yourself a ding. There it is. And the other? A little tricky, right?
Yeah, because, I mean, the league looks really good this year.
I know.
Like, really good. It's always good. I'm gonna go with though. I'm gonna settle on Missouri.
It is the Missouri Commodores, Vandy Mizzou. If you're wondering about the bottom feeders, I would be devastated if this happens. They have LSU projected to go to the Birmingham Bowl. The Birmingham Bowl and playing Central Florida. Meanwhile, what have we established is my non-college football playoff bowl of choice?
That'd be the Vegas Bowl.
That would be we need to get the Las Vegas, the Vegas baby Vegas on a drop, because I have a feeling I'm gonna have opportunity to use it plenty throughout the course of the season.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
There it is. December 17th, Las Vegas Bowl, Pac-12 versus SEC. Mississippi State versus Southern Cal.
Huh?
I mean, if you give me LSU, USC, and Vegas in the middle of December, brother,
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
I am all in. Hey, Gordon Linden Rush III, telling you right now, I'm going to Vegas. I ain't gonna be here.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
I might do a show from Vegas. More likely, I'll just call in to a show if you want. I would weep if LSU was in the Birmingham Bowl, brother. I would weep. I would be distraught. What?
I don't know. I'm just thinking like bowl matchups now are so much off of appeal, right? Like what's LSU USC?
For sure.
USC Mississippi State.
For sure. The Birmingham thing is just proximity, but yes, it's a terrible idea. If you're wondering, they've got Bama, Oklahoma, and Georgia, Ohio State in the semis. Bama, Ohio State in the championship game. They got Texas A&M playing Baylor in the Sugar Bowl. Arkansas in the Citrus. You know what we got to remind ourselves of, too? The Outback Bowl is no more. No more Bloomin' Onions and all that sort of stuff. It's now the ReliaQuest Bowl.
That's not nearly as cool, but okay.
No, I mean, the whole thing about the Bloomin' Onion
was awesome.
What was the other thing? It was the coconut shrimp.
Yes. Team Coconut Shrimp, Team Bloomin' Onion.
Yep. They've got Arkansas taking on Penn State. How about this one? No, I'm sorry. That's in the Citrus. ReliaQuest, Tennessee, Notre Dame.
I like that. Like, I'd actually watch that. I'd be fired up for that.
But the expectation for Notre Dame is much higher than the ReliaQuest Bowl. I don't know that it's justified. However, when you look at, how about this transition? When you look at the season opener, Notre Dame is a 17.5-point underdog against UHI. That'd be Ohio State. Man, I haven't said UHI in a long time. Do you know the UHI reference? Do you get that?
I don't know.
Oh,
no,
I got to dig this up.
I don't know what you just did,
man.
actually, right there. I was a little confused.
Wow. Okay, so not super long story, but super abbreviated. When LSU played Ohio State for the Natty in 2007, the Ohio State, when the team runs out, they have the flags. It's spelled OHIO. They were out of order. They did OOHI. So we laughed at them and called them UHI. Ooh, hi. That was a radio bit for a long time. It's been a minute, but wow. Dug that one out of the deep recesses of the brain. Here was Marcus Freeman on being a 17.5-point underdog against UHI.
Well, I didn't know that. I'm going to write that down. You said 17.5 points, right? We'll use that in the team meeting today, It's good to know. I haven't paid much attention to the spread, but I remember that one time we were on College Game Day, I said just keep making go up and up.
Certainly they know. Let me ask, let's make this the poll question today, Muse, the Citizens Bank and Trust poll question of the day. We know, would you agree that judging by all of the hullabaloo in the last week from Brian Driscoll on Crane and Company, that there is a very keen interest from the Notre Dame side in Brian Kelly? That's safe to say.
Yes, I agree.
They sincerely want him to fail here as validation for what they deem his failure there. They got left at the altar. They got dumped, and they don't want the person that dumped them to go do better. Do you think LSU fans are as interested in what Notre Dame does with Marcus Freeman?
As a whole, no. Like as the entirety of the fan base, I don't.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think LSU fans are going to be very keenly interested. They want Notre Dame to plummet as evidence to say your roster isn't able to compete with the upper echelon. Brian Kelly was maximizing it, getting you in playoff contention. Now you remove Brian Kelly, you go to a first-time head coach, and you get knocked down run. I sincerely think that LSU fans are pulling against Notre Dame for that reason, are going to be watching. I don't know how you want to word that, but let's make that the
Yeah,
poll.
that's what I'm kind of trying to think about right now, actually. Are you pulling against Notre Dame?
Or are you more
and
interested
Marcus
in
Freeman?
Well, I think a lot of people pull against Notre Dame to begin with. Like,
Yeah,
that's just they're polarizing. You said you do?
I do. I pull against them in general.
They're
yeah.
polarizing. So that's not the question. The question is, as an LSU fan, are you more interested in what Notre Dame does this year without Brian Kelly? See how you can word that. We'll make that the Citizens Bank and Trust poll question of the day. Go to Twitter at 1045ESPN to vote on it. We'll knock out a quick break and wrap up hour number 2. Muse is going to have Tigers in the pros. When we come back, Sean Salisbury in 15 minutes. We're pumped to welcome him back to AFR here on Tuesdays during the 2022 season. Stick around here on AFR.
AFR.
It is football weekend, a Sunday, LSU and Florida State. Of course, I will be in New Orleans briefly because we'll have a Rouses remote. Hanny is going to set up for pregame at Rouses on Barone. Muse, are you going as well?
Yeah, go with Hanny.
Okay, so Muse and Hanny will be at Rouses on Barone for Eagle 98.1 game day. So if you're in New Orleans, come see us. T-Bob and I will be making an appearance there during the show. But then we're going to drive back to Baton Rouge because we're doing Whiskey and Wine at Don Juan. But come see us if you're in New Orleans. Rouses on Barone. I think we're there from 1 to 3. Maybe you check my time, but I think it's 1 to 3. Sunday, Rouses on Barone, 1 to 3. I'll be there. T-Bob will be there. We'll look forward to seeing you. Remember, it's never been easier than right now to get all of your tailgate and game watch items. Get your personal shopper, as Rouses has curbside and delivery options. Rouses.com. Rouses.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Wrapping up hour number 2. Glad you're with us, Sean Salisbury. About 10 minutes from right now. Right now, Muso has Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
He hasn't had many rough nights, but last night was a rough night for Jake Fraley. Cincinnati Reds, rough night for them in general. They lost 13-4. But Fraley wore the collar, 0 for 2, did have a strikeout, did draw a walk, so he wasn't shut out completely on the night, though. Did manage to reach base. He was stranded on base when got the start in right field yesterday, though.
Hey.
Did not get in a fight with fans. That is notable as well. That didn't happen. That did not happen.
That was unfortunate, wasn't it?
Well, it's Philadelphia. They tend to elicit that type of reaction.
Yeah.
Also,
they're going to love Chauncey.
I was about to say, he fits in. He fits.
They're going to love him.
That's a good one. Austin Nola last night was 1 for 4 at the bottom of the Padres' order. It was a single, drove in 2 runs on the night as well. What a 253 average for Nola across the course of the season so far. Really and took him a while to get up there, but has turned into a really, really solid player at the Major League level.
What'd you expect? I mean,
No, I mean, I was a big Austin Nola fan. It just, really take someone that long, maybe the staying power isn't there. It has been for him, though. It's been great to see. A lot of position changes and all that. It's been good. Major League Baseball tonight, a couple former Tigers on the mound. Let's start with Kevin Gausman. Coming off a bit of a rough outing against the Red Sox in his last appearance. He will try his hand against the Chicago Cubs tonight. A .500 record, 9-9 for Gausman. An ERA of 3.15. He has K'd 155 in 134 innings, walked just 12. Trying to get to double-digit wins tonight against the Cubbies. Aaron Nola will be on the mound tonight. A battle of aces in the desert. Nola's opposing Zach Gallen for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Nola, of course, coming off the CG shut piece there, with 11 punchies.
The old CG shut piece, courtesy of one Patrick Coogan.
9-10 on the year is Nola, a 3.08 ERA. He's K'd 185 in 166 and 2/3. He's walked just 22 as well.
And he's got a losing record.
Yeah.
Philly, burn it down.
He has a whip
Trade
sub
him.
1.
Trade him, please.
Do it.
Trade him. He would be a perennial all-star if he were not playing in your crappy organization, losing 2-1 decisions every time out.
I mean, look, the Diamondbacks stink. Okay, they're not good. Even Zach Gallen has a 9-2 record. The Diamondbacks aren't good. The Phillies are better than the Diamondbacks. Nola's got a loser. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. Gentlemen, thrill her with a gift in the red box. Maybe you're thinking about popping the question. We move into the fall. The holiday season's going to be rapidly approaching. Maybe it's time to go start perusing. Lee Michaels can help. Every time you walk in, no matter your budget, they will always give you the Lee Michaels experience. Most of us, it's how often do we buy a diamond? Maybe once in our life. Maybe. They're the experts. They have the know-how, all of the knowledge, and they're just amazing people. They've been doing it for 40 years. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, 9 in all. Find the location nearest you, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, I'm excited about this. SportsCenter's coming up. Get you caught up on national headlines. After that, we'll talk to Sean Salisbury, who will be with us on Tuesdays, heretofore in the 5 o'clock hour during football season. We do 2 segments with Sean. We do a college segment and an NFL segment. So I want to talk to Sean about Nussmeier, Daniels, Nussmeier, his thoughts on those guys. Also, Of course, Brian Kelly, some of the other big, decisions here, coaching moves, week 1 in college football, and then with today being the day the NFL rosters were pared down to 53, got to get Sean's take on some of the big NFL roster decisions, and of course, the Saints trading Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. So all that's coming up with Sean Salisbury right after the top of the hour. Tuesday AFR presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Better coverage for less money. I tell you every single day. Check them out online at lainsurance.net. All right, here comes SportsCenter. Then we're back with Sean Salisbury right after the break.
AFR.
If you want to look and feel like your younger self, there is a way. You want to put your head on your pillow at night and fall to sleep easily like you did when you were younger and wake up refreshed, there is a way. You want to have the motivation to get in the gym, and when you get into the gym to actually be able to build muscle and burn fat like you did when you were younger, there is a way. See, as we age, every single one of us, happens to every human, as we age, our body produces less of the hormones that contribute to how we feel, and things like build muscle, burn fat, etc. And it happens at a different rate in every single one of us. So no matter what your age is, it's more about how you feel. A simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for hormone replacement therapy. The Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana helps thousands of men in our communities. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Draw those blood labs, have that consultation. theantiagingclinics.com.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A day after the 49ers and quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo agreed on a restructured one-year contract, Coach Kyle Shanahan said although his return was shocking to the team, they thought it was a win-win for both sides. Jimmy G will back up Trey Lance. Lance has only started 2 NFL regular season games, but he should be the starter, believes former 49ers tight end Vernon Davis.
Now, the wise thing would be to go with Jimmy G because he has the experience and he's proven it, right? But then you have to ask yourself the question, why did we bring Trey in? Give him the opportunity, give him a chance to prove that he can go out and be the best quarterback in this league.
Vernon Davis on Canty and Carlin. In addition to the improving the backup QB situation, the restructured deal extends the Niners' window to potentially trade Garoppolo. He does have final approval over any deal per his no-trade clause. Bills quarterback Trey White, coming back from a torn ACL, placed on the PUP list, out at least the first 4 games of this season. Baseball, the Astros placed ace Justin Verlander on the injured list with a right calf injury.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. And now, a no-frills ad brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Here it is. You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. That's it. See? Just a good old-fashioned, straightforward ad. See if you could save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE or Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. That's right.
Hour 3 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Musu. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock, quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us, and so glad to welcome back the host of the Sean Salisbury Show, weekdays. Sports Talk 790 in Houston. You know him. He's a speaker. He is a media mogul. He's a former college and NFL quarterback, and he's a great friend. And he's going to be with us every Tuesday again this football season for a couple of segments, talking college and NFL. He is the incomparable Sean Salisbury. How are you, man?
I'm doing very well, Matty. Thanks for having me on. How you doing, bud?
I'm fired up, man. I'm so glad to have you back on this season. I know our audience is as well. Hey, man, everybody here today kind of got thrown a curveball with the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson news, the Saints trading him out. I'm curious how much that registers, how much that hits home for you. Obviously not being in this market where he was really a beloved player, but just thoughts on that trade moving CJ to Philly?
Yeah, you know what? It's a Philly gain. I mean, they got a good gig out of it, and I know that the contract talks and stuff, and they've got a lot of good young players, meaning in New Orleans and depth there. I think they've got a Super Bowl caliber defense, and so it afforded them, even though he's a popular player and a really good nickel last year and a popular player in the town and really good, he's got a chance to go start there and on a team that I actually think, Matt, I'm not sure we're giving Philadelphia enough credit for their Super Bowl aspirations, honestly. I think they're really – and they're deep in a lot of positions. They're going to have an explosive offense, anybody in the country, as long as Hurts continues to elevate his game. So does it hurt? Yeah, but I don't think Dennis and I don't think the franchise gets rid of a guy if they think that it is not a benefit, that they don't have depth there, because the Saints – I think the gap's closed between Tampa with their offensive line issues. I do. I would beat them and the Saints. That's a 2-horse division. But you got to have a lot of bodies, and they do. I think they got better this year. You know, with Matthew also in the secondary, I think they got better all the way around. I do. Now, losing an offensive lineman is a problem, but on the defensive side, I think their depth, they've got enough youth mixed with some experience and playmakers. I think that the New Orleans Saints are dangerous on defense. The question is, with all those weapons on offense too, where does Jameis elevate his game? But I think Philadelphia got a good player. I think, I don't know if shocking is the right word, but I felt like you could have gotten more for him, but there's sometimes when you just got to make those decisions, especially on cut down day, and move people around. So probably a win to clear some space for some other players you feel good about in New Orleans. And I think it's a good get for Philadelphia, who, if you're asking me today, I think they're the best team in the division, and I wouldn't have said that 8 months ago.
I'm going to come back to Philly in a second, but I want to ask you about a guy who is likely going to fill in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's role. It's a guy you saw in Houston, which is Bradley Roby. The Saints a year ago thought they were going to need outside cornerback help. Lattimore ends up not getting suspended. Paulson Adebo has a great rookie year, and Roby kind of fills in the slot even when Chauncey was hurt. Is that a role inside out that you think Bradley Roby still at this point in his career can fill adequately?
I do. I do. And here, when he came to Houston, you're like, okay, what's he going to be? And he was, for a minute, their best guy in the secondary. He was, as far as being able to be the versatility of it, because you could play him outside and inside. And man, in this league now, I contend that I'm not sure that the inside slot cover guy isn't just as important as if not more important, in a tougher position. When you look at the guys you got to run around the field with when you're covering a slot and you're playing nickel and you're covering the inside, because the truth of the matter is we don't have 4 DBs anymore, Matt. We play with 5 and 6.
Yeah.
If you have now a linebacker who, the problem is with specialization, are you going to stay big with linebackers, or are you going to go smaller with the extra body there? But teams now, you're lining up at 3 wides and 4 wides and still running. Your back's still going to run for, if you got a good one, 1,400 yards if he's a really good one. I mean, so the days of, well, you got Mike Haynes and Lester Hayes on the corner, widen the linebackers out in a 3-wide receiver set, or somebody who can play over the tight end. Nowadays, and Roby's pretty physical, and he's good inside, and he did provide depth for them. And it was one of his strengths here, that he was the ability to do both and create that if you needed him outside or inside. So, yeah, it is. And I'm telling you, and people are always saying, well, the lockdown corner is always on the outside. You want me to talk to some Cooper Kupp guys, got to cover him and that position in the league. And nowadays it's no longer just, if you line up there, if I'm calling plays, I'm moving people all over the place. I'll put Thomas inside, I'll stick him outside, I put Kupp inside, I'm formationing teams to death to see where I go. So, yeah, and he's a cagey veteran. He's been in the league. He knows he's going to a swagger-filled defense. I mean, he's on a swagger-filled defense, and that he can fulfill a role because he's seen just about everything you can see in football. So I do. I think that you're not getting a guy who hasn't seen a lot of football and people that can throw it around the lot a little bit, and they're going to throw it, and he can also play the run at times too. I think he's a good inside cover guy. But if depth were to be a problem, he can still go outside and play for you if you need him.
Sean Salisbury's with us. So I'm kind of just flip-flopping back and forth. I want to go back to Philly for a second, then I want to come back to Jameis. So you like Philly. They are a hot pick. My contention is, I'm sure you agree, and you said this, is how far is Jalen Hurts going to take them? As a quarterback guy, why would you be – what has you convinced that Jalen Hurts can be that player?
Man, I can remember going back when he was a freshman in college. I know it's been a while. And a freshman in college. And they were playing USC at Jerry's house, and they beat us. They hung 50-plus. And if you remember, he came into the game. I mean, they were talking about 2 veterans. And about the series in, Nick brought him in, and he never lost. That was his job from then on out. The very first time he ran the ball, he laid it on the ground there. And I was with a couple of my former teammates at the game in person, and I thought, wow, what are they going to do? And he played the whole game, and they boat raced us, right? And then 4 games later, that's when Darnold made his coming out party. But I saw him, and then I watched him closely throughout the season. And I said at the time, and I promise you this, I said I've never been around a younger player more poised in my life. The one thing I like guys who are mentally and emotionally tough. I'll get to the physical stuff real quick in a second, but when it held true. And I'm not very smart, but there's certain things you can see. And I watched him that freshman year, and then I watched him lead the team. And a guy who was still learning how to throw, but he didn't really need too much on that team and still progressing. And I watched him go through the ups and downs through his career and lose a job when Tua came in the national title game and threw that whole shot for the score. I think it was Devontae Smith who actually made the catch too.
It was.
So, I mean, all those things. And at no time did he finger point. At no time did he make an excuse. At no time did he sell anybody out. He stayed the course. And then when everybody says, well, the guy can't throw, he goes and gets Lincoln Riley and improved on his passing game. And I said it on my show. I don't get much right, like I said, but with Jalen Hurts, I said that I would take him in the second round or third round at the latest because poise, he wins, and he's a playmaker. Now, you say that, well, this is a league that throws the ball, of course. But I take you to his time at Alabama, and then his time when he got to go throw it at Oklahoma, and then the first, as infancy in this league, we saw him some as a rookie, saw him, as he started to progress. I've seen him make strides every year. Now, he's never going to lead the league in passing, Matt. He's never going to do it. He's never going to lead in. He's not going to complete 74% like the dude we're used to seeing in New Orleans. But what he does do is he adds a dimension. And on certain teams, you don't need to be the MVP of the league. Now, this league, if you're an average to below average player on a good team, you're not winning a Super Bowl. You'd have to be awful lucky and have some attrition and injuries. But if you're a solid player and you lead first and you're mentally and emotionally tough, you better be in that city. Hell, look what he's had to go through even then of fighting through. Is he going to lose his job and this guy? And when they get rid of this guy, are they keeping this guy? And then now it's and through drafts, and it's his team. So what I see is a poised guy. Now, there's going to be an elevation to the passing game. There has to be. But here's the deal. He's got weapons now. He's got guys that can take the ball on a hitch route and give him something big. I fully believe you're going to see, in whatever you consider quantum leaps, I think Jalen Hurts is getting to the next level. And I would have taken him as high as Philadelphia did because he wins and he's poised. And when I see that first, now, I'm not talking about a guy who's a hack, but he's progressed as a passer. There's another level to his passing game, but I'm just telling you, if he's healthy, somehow, some way, this guy has a unique way to win. Now, I don't know if they're going to win a Super Bowl. I still wouldn't take him, but I'm going to tell you what, I feel like they got a little bit more moxie on their team, and I got to see more guts out of the Cowboys to prove to me that Dallas is going to take the next step because they got players too. Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts is better than people lead on. Not a superstar, but I think he's perfect for that team right now.
Would you take, if I asked you just briefly, Jameis and the Saints roster or Jalen and Philly's roster today? Which would you say?
Oh, gosh. I think that Jameis, if I was judging just by their entire body of work, I'd say Jameis is, over the course of his career, with the football being a little bit, and facetious at times, but careless.
Sure.
And Jalen Hurts, great with his feet, but not nearly as explosive with his arm. There's something, and I'm not going to evade the question, there's something to love about both. I think the poise and the calm, I'd rather have Hurts' poise, and I'll take the throwing skills of Jameis. And I've told you this before. Where are we going to be with Jameis this year? Is it going to be the overly protective, hold him down to 20 throws Jameis when he got to New Orleans to be more, protected that Sean had him playing in? Or are we going to see the Jameis in Tampa where you take all kinds of shots, but you throw it to the other team too many? Or can we get a happy medium where I don't want to coach guts out of him? Show me a quarterback without balls or guts, and I'll show you a loser. But I also got to know it's the truth. All the great ones, they'll take shots, but they got to be judicious shots, right? There's three guys there. It's okay to get Kamara on the check down, let him go do it. But you get single coverage, dude, take your shot. So if that Jameis shows up, the explosive Jameis, and they got a vertical passing game, of course I want him. He's a far better passer right now. I'm not sure he's a bigger winner at this stage. That doesn't mean he's not. I'm talking about at the pro level. So I would think that both rosters, I'd love the explosiveness on both. They've got players. Right now you'd have to take Jameis and the Saints roster because of his passing skills, and I love their defense. But I don't think, depending on where they're playing, and the Giants and Washington's up and down offense, depending on who wins is, I don't think we can say there's a blatant difference at quarterback because Jameis has still got plenty to prove to protect the ball, and Hurts has got plenty to prove in the passing game that he can throw balls to windows that Jameis can when he hits those shots, when it's thrown to a coffee can-sized window. Something to like about both. I would lean towards Jameis now, but anybody that's telling me Hurts is a hack is not watched his progression over the last 3 or 4 years from college to now.
Okay. Week 17 in Philly. Could be a lot on the line when the Saints go up.
And I can assure you there will be, and probably, to be honest with you, Matty, in both divisions, maybe a division title, at least in late December. I believe that.
He's Sean Salisbury. Let me knock out a quick break, Sean. We'll come back. I do want to ask Sean's thoughts on LSU situation. It's hard to really break down the quarterbacks at this point because we've seen so little of Garrett in games, but I do want Sean's opinion on the importance of Jaden's experience in this opener. That's coming up with Sean Salisbury. Remind you about Shoots Electric, CESofLA.com, CESofLA.com, automatic home standby generators from Generac. The power goes out, your Generac comes on. Mine does. I called Shoots Electric, had them come install an automatic home standby generator at my house. Would highly recommend you do the same. They've got the expertise. The entire customer service experience of Shoots was awesome. Check them out online at CESofLA.com. That's CESofLA.com for Shoots Electric. It's affordable. Financing is available. It's Shoots Electric. We'll continue with Sean Salisbury next.
AFR.
I am Juliet, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabriel Piera. I come from a line of strong women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis, but I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, we continue with Sean Salisbury. Spent that first segment talking some Saints in NFL. Sean, I'd love to dive into LSU, and obviously we haven't seen a game yet, so a lot of it's just theory right now. But Brian Kelly's not going to name a starter. I'm curious your thought. Daniels, Nussmeier, what about the decision not to name a starter? Does it really provide a tactical advantage?
Well, the similarities between the two, now Jaden's played a lot more football. Nussmeier, they both can add a sense of mobility. And we saw Arizona State, what Jaden Daniels did. And, the interceptions to touchdowns a little more difficult last year, but is rushing the football. We know Nussmeier has that. Both of them, can throw the football. And, the experience obviously favors Daniels. So I don't know when it's a tactical advantage. I guess if you're Florida State, you're saying, well, we get the young guy, and would we use more pressure situations on him? Because I know, when working with young guys, the key of staying sound with your feet and your mechanics and making sure your eyes get through progressions, because you're talking the SEC and you're talking a lot of football. Now, he's got great football in his blood, good DNA, because his pops is a pretty good teacher of it and was a good player too, and he's been coaching a while. So that's that football coach's mentality for Nuss. So I don't know if it's a major tactical advantage, unless, of course, Brian Kelly feels like, okay, I always say this, put yourself on the other side. If you were defending the guy that you're coaching, how would you then what would be the tactical advantage? And when he announced his decision, I thought, okay, does Brian, when he looks at them, is there a blatant difference between the two that he would assume Florida State's defensive staff looks at like he would? So if that's the case, you say, okay, veteran, been around, played a lot of football, and get you in and out of the huddle, not going to get flustered, because Jaden Daniels is a very poised young man, been starting since he was a freshman. And then you look at the other side and say, okay, well, we got a guy who's got good football IQ, and he's still learning the position. So I guess the tactical part comes into, you could probably get a little bit more creative or throw caution to the wind if you're Florida State's defense. They ran the football well last week, so control the ball and understand that maybe you could confuse a little more. But this is a smart kid in Nussmeier as well as Jaden Daniels. So, but if Brian feels it, then he's looking at it from the defensive side, saying, okay, if it was me, would I think it was tactical to know? So if Brian likes, now Brian, as you know, he's a organized, step-by-step, point-by-point guy. He's hard on quarterbacks. He expects them to play smart. So here's what my gut tells me, that if you're Jaden Daniels or Garrett Nussmeier, you have a pretty good idea who's starting, I would think. Now, I'll tell you this. I think they're both going to play. I think you're going to see them both, and maybe in the first and second game, kind of like what Michigan's doing.
Yeah.
And I hate two quarterback systems. Michigan executed it well, and I get it. That's one that I step aside because you got two studs. As you're learning here, I usually like to go with one, because normally if you have two, you don't have one, because one hasn't established himself. In Michigan, they both have, but here, not with a transfer and a new system, and both of them in a new system because it's a new coach, so they're trying to learn. So Brian's probably trying to figure out who gets me in and out of the huddle, who's got a clear picture of what's going on, and who gives me the best chance to get up, get things going, and get rolling. And after a couple games, we see them both. Then we can jump in and say, okay, I think game 3 isn't at home against Mississippi State, Matty. I think they're at home,
Correct.
and Mississippi State
Correct.
can be dangerous, right? Florida State's good. Don't misunderstand me. My gut tells me you're going to play the guy that gives you more veteran leadership right now, and they got more experience. And Brian loves that. So, but then he also likes playmakers. So my gut would say Jaden's going to start, Nussmeier's going to play, and the second game same way, which should be a bit easier. And then you get prepared for a Mike Leach team, which we've talked about last year, and it came to fruition that Mike will do some crazy stuff. So it's a danger game. But you can't look ahead of that, because Florida State and them is pretty evenly matched ball game this weekend. So I think it's going to be Jaden, but the tactical advantage is, I would imagine you're not going to wake up on Saturday morning and let the guy know during pregame warm-up that he's starting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that while that may be a tactical advantage for you, I also think it becomes a disadvantage for the quarterback not getting into his starting pitching routine and going through whatever he'd go through on his game day. But Brian Kelly, if you protect the ball and make smart decisions, you got a real good chance to play for him.
Hey, Sean, have you worked with Jaden Daniels or Nussmeier in the past?
I have not. I have not
Okay.
coached either one of them now. throughout my times in Scottsdale of people that have watched and seen and out there, and I've watched a lot of Jaden Daniels because of Pac-12 guys.
Right.
I've seen Garrett here a couple times, but I have not seen much of him. But I know his dad well enough and watched his dad play plenty, so he usually doesn't fall far from the tree. And usually the younger ones are better athletes than we are, so because they've learned well. So they watched dad grow up doing it and watching tape. So I know they both put a lot of work in the offseason, especially Jaden Daniels and his footwork, to get himself in position where the mechanics don't break down under pressure.
No, I know you'd worked with a lot of quarterbacks in Arizona, which is why I thought there might have been a tie with Jaden. I should have asked you that beforehand. Right. But
no,
it's okay.
You're right.
You did see him at Arizona State plenty, of
a lot.
course. So if there's a knock and there's this sort of narrative here, it's, well, he's inaccurate. Do you see that? Like, is that a fair criticism of Jaden Daniels?
He's never going to lead the country in accuracy, passing efficiency. I mean, I guess saying never is not fair, Matty. I mean, he could step it up. I think the thing is, and what happens with guys that can do a lot of things. I remember when he busted onto the scene as a freshman in the Pac-12. People were like, I talked to Herm Edwards about him too. He said, Sean, this guy's a really dynamic talent, and was talking about it. And I think early on he completed like right around 60. Well, that's the old school 55%, right, man? When you used to complete 55, 56%, you're a pretty good player back in the 80s and 90s. And then it's got to the point we can't live at 60, throw it too much. Now, then I think his final year, while the interceptions to touchdown were pretty even, if I'm not mistaken,
it was 10 and 10.
His percentage went up. I think he was 64, 65%. Yep. So we saw, and 5 percentage points to me, Matty, is a quantum leap. So you don't see that. Now the question is, out here, they're going to play tougher defense than they did in the Pac-12. That's just a fact of the matter. They are going to be physical. They're going to create new lines of scrimmage. It's going to, and now the Pac-12 is good football, but you're dealing with this can be nuts. Now you're practicing against some good players up front too. So I think what happens, and I think that's why you put the footwork in. Matt, spend a lot of time where your eyes and feet are moving at the same time, and you're getting through them. Because what happens with talented guys, and it's normal, is you rely on your ability like we all do. What's the best thing you do? Oh, let me rely back on that instead of thousands of times repeating it. So maybe this offseason take another level where the second guy's not there and make the play. And I know both of these guys have to do a better job of making sure you don't play hero football. It's a tendency. Young guys they're trying to bust on the scene, Nussmeier. Now you're trying to impress a new coach. You don't have to. Make the simple play. I say it all the time. And players get in trouble trying to be heroes. In the process of making the simple play, the big play will come. Jaden, we've seen more of that. I watched him make some spectacular football plays. So I'm not going to say he's in it. 65% is not inaccurate. Mm-hmm. Okay, now, what is 65% starting every down on an offensive line that they got to prove us something? Yeah. Does he in his mind think, oh, my gosh, I'm going to have to bail myself out with my feet, or does he go back to pocket presence and standing in there and letting his eyes and feet move at the same speed and get through progressions and then use your feet as a check down? So we'll have a better, Matty, when we talk about this in the middle of the season, we'll get a better idea if the mechanics are breaking down. If they're solid and he's in that 63 to 66 range with his playmaking ability, it's like the guy who hits home runs. I don't need Aaron Judge to hit 340, 280, and I can live with 280 and all those home runs. It's the same thing here. I can live with 64, 65% as long as he's making the simple play, and I get those extra big plays with him or Garrett, whoever it is, with their ability to extend plays and make throws. But it's important you don't try to be a hero, and most of us have tried that at times, and it usually gets you in trouble.
Sean, before you go, I want to ask you sort of a big picture Brian Kelly question, which is, and I'll leave it open-ended for you to answer however you want. How and how much better does Brian Kelly make LSU right now?
More disciplined. Accountability. Now, this is no knock on the previous regime. I don't mean. I mean, we saw what they had when they had players, and good coach, and they had good coaching staff. They did, and it got away from them the last couple of years. I understand, and they had a guy at quarterback who's going to win an MVP in a league, and a couple wide receivers are pretty good. So They were loaded, man. And defense. I mean, we got one of your guys sitting here at corner and with the Texans, so pretty good. I would say it's going to be different. It's going to be a little more buttoned up. It's going to be you're going to see him now. Ed coached hard to the quarterback. It reminds me of the Mike Martz, and you know Mike from all his years.
Sure.
Mike, and I talked to Warner about it, to Mark Bolger in the past about it, to Trent Green, all of them who had Martz. put it this way: there's no defense that's going to test your skin more than the quarterback than the coach, and that was with Mike. And once you got through practice, the games were easy. And I mean this as a compliment to Brian, but you're going to see accountability. It's not just going to be the getting on him. It's going to be the everyday buttoned-up routine of doing it this way, and he's going to coach you hard. So I don't know record. I mean, they'll be better this year. I don't know if that means 9 or 10 wins. I think we're a bit of that away and getting more of his recruits and settling into this name, image, and likeness and transfer portal. But I can tell you this, they won't beat themselves very often. They may have – somebody may run into better players, but they're not going to beat themselves very often. And that defense will keep them in games. Just protect the football and you'll have it. But you're going to see it's 180 degrees different from the approach that you're going to see from both coaches, at least the last year for Coach O and the first year for this. Both had ways of doing it, but Brian Kelly, the leash isn't very long with him if you're putting your team in a bind, and that doesn't matter what position you're at. He doesn't expect you. Mental mistakes will get you just in just as bad a trouble as physical mistakes will.
He's on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Y'all give him a follow. Man, I know I said it. I'll say it again. I'm so fired up to have you back for another football season with us, man. Thanks for making yourself available to us and our audience all throughout the year. We're looking forward to it, man. We'll talk next week.
My favorite times of the week, brother. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Sean. He is Sean Salisbury on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. AFR is brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. I love that they're celebrating 75 years in business. I've been saying it, I'm going to say it all year just because it's incredible. I mean, how many small businesses come and go that never make it 7 years, let alone 75 years? But that's what Michelli's been able to do as they've grown into our nation's largest distributor of scales. They are your partner for weighing and measurement equipment since 1947. They service all scale and measurement equipment makes and models. You could ship your equipment to them. They can come by, pick it up, or they can calibrate on site if you have machinery and equipment that can't leave your site or your facility. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. They're hiring. Go to Michelli.com, hit the careers tab at the top, and apply for the job online that you're looking for. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. All right, it is after further review. Otter Locks in about 15 minutes. Otter had himself a rough night last night. Which means Scone had himself a rough night last night. And the Yankees lost too. It sucked. So, see if we can get back on track with some Otter Locks in about 15 minutes from right now. We're not going to break. Mike Norvell, Florida State head coach, did meet with the media earlier today. Had some interesting comments about LSU as his team gets prepared for Sunday night's game in the Dome. Let's hear what the head coach of the Seminoles had to say when we return on AFR.
AFR.
And, of course, if you're looking for a place to watch this weekend, Pluckers. Look, just make Pluckers your football home all throughout the year. Tonight's Tuesday. And every Tuesday, every night of the week, there's something going on. So Tuesday, kids eat free. So if you want to get the kids out of the house, go have an affordable meal in a fun environment, get by either Pluckers location. Kids eat free every Tuesday. 8:30 tonight, Nicholson. Sports Trivia. Hunt Palmer hosts it. Get your team together. Get on out to Pluckers. Test your sports knowledge. Remember, every team gets to spin the prize wheel. So every team could win, even if every team will win something, even if you don't win a round. Maybe it's Pluckers gift cards or Amazon gift cards or swag from great area businesses. It's at Pluckers. Nicholson or Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. College football starts. You guys got 5 straight days of college football, Thursday through Monday. Watch every single game at Pluckers. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Pluckers, you don't like our wings. Give me the bird.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys. For those.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Good work day. Good to be able to get back out. Coming off Sunday, I thought we had a good practice. Yesterday being the off day, able to start implementing a game plan and some of the different looks that we anticipate to see, but really continuing to focus on our growth, our development. I thought all in all it was a good day. There were some moments of up and down. Tried to challenge guys in different situations and give them some different and new looks. But ultimately that's what this game's going to be a part of.
That's Mike Norvell. Florida State was back on the practice field today on Tuesday, and Mike Norvell met with reporters after practice. So back-to-back days that Norvell met with the media. Tomorrow morning, Brian Kelly's on the SEC Coaches Teleconference, just kind of reminding you of how the week goes. So 10 a.m., Brian Kelly will be first up on the SEC Coaches Teleconference. So if you're looking for news and tidbits and things that might pop out or trickle out tomorrow on Twitter, 10 a.m. is when you'll see Brian Kelly on the teleconference. So you might start to get some news and notes as LSU's game week has moved along. We know that LSU is not going to name a starter. Mike Norvell was asked about that. If LSU not naming a starter changes the Florida State approach this week.
No, sir. No, I mean, we've prepared for all. I mean, everybody has their own unique skill set of what they can have, but I think both are capable of doing all of what they've shown to run in the past. And I mean, it is, they're all going to have their own unique wrinkles. I mean, there's going to be probably a new concept or a new scheme or something that has probably shown up, but that will show up in this game. They're going to play to the strength of the starting quarterback. So whoever that is, we've got to trust what we do and be able to react to it. And yes, when we watch, whether it's high school huddle film or whether it's film from other schools or different times in these guys' careers, we try to watch it all to get any information that could benefit us. But we'll know that once that person runs on the field, well, here we go. This is what it's going to be.
Man just said he watches high school huddle film. Dude just said he watches high school huddle film to try to pick up tendencies for these quarterbacks. That's where, for Brian Kelly, and I'll say this, I don't know that it actually gives you much of an advantage. For the reason Mike Norvell said, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to run what they run. But any minute that anybody on the Florida State staff this week is watching high school huddle highlights of one guy, not the other, yeah, it takes away from time they could be zeroing in on the one guy. Said it yesterday. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to maintain this because I said it yesterday on the show and I had a lot more people validate it afterwards. The biggest advantage in this game is LSU's defense because Florida State has no idea what Matt House is going to do. They can go back and look at defense he called in 2019 at Kentucky, but new players, that's been a minute. He was in Kansas City. He wasn't calling the defense in Kansas City. That, as a coach, you want to feel like you have a plan. That's why they're watching huddle highlights. They want to feel like they're not leaving any stone unturned. They want all the info so they can feel like they're going in prepared with a plan that works, and they don't know what to expect from Matt House. I think that is I think especially early in the ball game, especially early, it's going to be tough sledding for Florida State's defense. For Florida State's offense against LSU's defense, especially early in the game. Those adjustments in game are going to be key for Florida State this week against LSU. Both teams, but Florida State for sure. Biggest story of the day, as I'm sure you've heard, the Saints have traded Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to the Philadelphia Eagles. If you missed it, we opened the show today with my thoughts on that. You can watch the video at the After Further Review Saints YouTube channel. You can go listen on demand at 1045ESPN.com or however you get your podcast. Just search After Further Review. Of course, AFR On Demand is presented by Brett Golf. It's just, to simplify it, it's just pretty obvious. They weren't going to come to a contract agreement. And so the Saints decided to get something for him instead of letting Chauncey Gardner-Johnson walk after the season like you saw with Marcus Williams and with Trey Hendrickson. Tom Pelissero was on the NFL Today and kind of explained a little bit deeper why the contract with Chauncey and the Saints didn't work.
And Ian, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is going to be a starting safety for the Eagles, which is important to everyone involved. In New Orleans, he was used predominantly in the slot as a nickel. So when it came to those contract negotiations, the safety market is a lot more lucrative than the nickel market. I spoke to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's agent, Kevin Connor, who told me that there was a strategic element to this. Now he gets into a situation in Philadelphia with some coaches that he knows and are very good on a talented defense. The opportunity here to make himself a lot of money.
It's very reminiscent of what happened with Jimmy Graham, isn't it? Jimmy Graham wanted to be paid like a receiver, and the Saints said, no, you're a tight end. They were never going to come to an agreement. Chauncey wants to be paid like a safety. Saints want to pay him like a nickel. They're never going to come to an agreement. So it's very unfortunate. I mean, as a fan, I'm gutted because I love the guy on my team. Intellectually, I understand why the Saints made the decision they did. And I think the defense is going to be fine. With Bradley Roby, with Alontae Taylor, you know that you're going to have Paulson Adebo coming back. You've got a lot of depth in that secondary, and you're going to be able to withstand this as much as it sucks. All right, it's After Further Review. We are brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. I got a text earlier today from my guy, Kerry Manuel. He's the certified pre-owned manager over at South Point. He said, look, they've had great sales on the new Volkswagens, Atlas, Cross Sports, Tiguan's. They got a good number of quality late model one-owner SUVs, Lexus, Honda, Infiniti, Acura, BMW, Audi. So if you're in the market for a pre-owned SUV, go online at southpointvw.com, hit the pre-owned tab, and look around. There's more than a dozen pictures for each vehicle in stock. So go check them out. Many of them still have their factory warranted remaining, and they're all serviced. southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. That's southpointvw.com for South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? All right, before we get to Otter Locks Muse, let's update our Citizens Bank poll question of the day, if you would.
Sure thing. Today's poll question, LSU fans, are you more interested in Notre Dame this year? 79% say no.
Do you believe them? Because I don't.
I do, because like I said, when you asked me the question, I said no. I don't think that it's that big of a deal to the majority of the fan base.
Maybe I am looking just through a very narrow lens, but and I do understand this, just the nature of what we do, but the guy from the Irish Breakdown who went on Crane and Company kind of took a shot at Brian Kelly. The amount of vitriol spewed toward that dude. He has gone on a block spree on Twitter. And then Crane and Company had me back on their show. And I understand, like, this is still a narrow prism. There's most of you listening don't even know what Crane and Company is. It's a YouTube show. Jake Crane's on Daily Wire. He's a good friend. And anyway, we were talking about Brian Kelly's opportunity for success at LSU. But just what's happened is this avalanche of bickering with Notre Dame and LSU fans in my feed because I'm tagged in all of these posts. So I guess maybe, again, I'm looking through a narrow lens, just all the interaction on Twitter. But I do think that you're going to have LSU fans that are maybe kind of hoping Notre Dame falters without Brian Kelly as validation for Brian Kelly. But listen, the ultimate validation will come if and or when Brian Kelly wins a championship here and Notre Dame doesn't. So he's got a 10-year contract to do it. Let's see. All right, it's after further review. Final break. We'll come back. Otter Locks is next. Stay here.
AFR.
Fall is here because the calendar says so. Might still be hot outside. Doesn't matter. It's fall. It is time to plant those fall vegetable gardens. Get by Clegg's Nursery. They got Johnny Naylor seeds. If you're a green thumb, you know about Johnny Naylor seeds. They've got your fall decor, your fall bedding plants as well. They got you. It's Clegg's Nursery. Siega near Airline. LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Any of the 4 locations. Remember also, if you are a deer hunter, it's time to start putting those plots out. They got buckbusters. They got mobucks. They got deer corn. They got rice bran. They've got all of it. I don't use none of it because I don't hunt. But you all do, and you all seem to know, and they got it. And when they have it, y'all flock to Clegg's to go buy it. So support a great local store that supported our community for 60 years. It's Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Buy local, shop local, and tell them Matt sent you into Clegg's Nursery.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside, off the bench, Hunt and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment on a Tuesday edition of AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Workbox Services. For over 20 years, Baton Rouge's leader on on-site construction, industrial, and residential services.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and of an incomprehensible, the Ottfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Still licking our wounds from that 7-0 blown deficit last night out in the desert. That wasn't good, was it? Silly.
What's
they
that?
lose 30-7.
No, I'm well aware. Yeah, didn't go so great with the Phillies and the Giants as well. So an 0-for-3 night for the Otter, which just means it's time to get back on track. So let's go back to the well. What you feeling tonight, Otter?
All right, Dodgers against the Mets. Taijuan Walker, one of the weak links of that rotation there. We're going with in a Houston Atlanta parlay plus a little money. See exactly what that is. Max Free and Framber Valdez on the road there. That is plus 15 or so, give or take.
All right, let's see.
On yours.
Houston and Atlanta. What time is Houston first pitch?
You want some treats?
What time is Houston first pitch? I'm trying to find that. Oh, there it is.
7 o'clock.
Okay, they're minus 140. Okay. I'm looking at plus 121 on the money line parlay with the Braves and the Astros.
There you go. All right, here you go. College football win totals. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
How many you want? Do you want to? We got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We got one that is going on Thursday night.
Okay.
West Virginia returns their entire offensive line, tackle to tackle. JT Davis comes over. They do have Graham Harrell that's come over. At several offensive coordinators or coaches that's reuniting with the quarterbacks that he was with at a prior stay. Remember, Graham Harrell was doing that air raid thing.
Oh, yeah.
And JT Daniels looked pretty good early before he tore off his ACL. They do have some explosiveness at wide receiver over 6 West Virginia this year.
All right.
And is there a better fit than a running quarterback with Jess Malzahn, like your boy was when they lost Florida State?
Nick Marshall, yeah.
Yeah. Can John Reese Plumlee run a little bit?
he did on one night in Oxford when LSU was already on the bus.
He can run. That is a great fit. Now listen, there are 8.5 and 9.5 over there. Only on 8.5. They do return a lot. I like from Florida. So you're gonna lay about $1.50. But I think if you look it up right now, your site, you'll see 8.5 minus 150.
1 minute remaining.
All right. I am. Crap. Oh, there. UCF 8.5. Yep. Over 8.5.
Yeah.
Wow. You think they get to 9, huh? And they have a big
They'll be favored in 11 of the 12 games here.
Okay. All right. So West Virginia over 6.
Yeah, they avoid Houston and Cincinnati in the past.
Okay. West Virginia over 6, Central Florida over 8.5. You got any more?
I do, but I'll share tomorrow.
Okay. Otter, where are you?
Burnside salad, baby.
Get on.
Yes, Mike Anderson's the original.
All right, Otter. Let's have a good night tonight. Let's get back on track. We'll talk tomorrow.
All right, brother.
All right, Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us in Baton Rouge. If you're not in Baton Rouge, online at 1045ESPN.com or the Game Time with Jimmy Ott Facebook page. Muse, you learn anything tonight?
Nope.
Paulie, did you learn anything?
Saquon made the first 53.
I'm so pissed about it, too. All right, we'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, reminded about DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the NFL. And to celebrate the return of football, DraftKings is giving new customers a can't-miss offer. Bet just $5 on any football game and get $200 in free bets instantly. If you want more action on opening night, everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. How about get up to 7? You win. Bet on any NFL team of your choice. If your team leads by 7 points at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team loses. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. Again, get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's promo code Baton Rouge, only at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. One per new customer. Minimum $5 deposit and wager. $200 issued as 8 $25 free bets. Restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Licensing partner Gold Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-7-0-STOP.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.